The reason I tell you all of this is because my activities here in Chicago taught me a very important lesson that I have never forgotten. And that is that whether it is the struggle against corporate greed, against racism, sexism, homophobia, environmental devastation, or war and militarism, real change never takes place from the top on down. It always takes place from the bottom on up. One day, many of us went to the spot where they were planning to put the trailers. We were corralled by the police and told not to cross a line. Well, some of us did cross that line. And, of course, we were arrested. And we spent that night in jail until we were bailed out in the morning by the NAACP.
We live in a world today where there are several 100 million people starving to death. They're starving to death right now. All over this country today, there is a certain demoralization. And the demoralization is that some people believe that what goes on in the White House and what goes on in the Congress reflects the will of the American people. And by assembling here today as the Rainbow Coalition and its other groups from 46 states in America, what we are saying very loud and clear is that Ronald Reagan and his billionaire friends do not represent America, but we do. In some of the largest cities in America, 50% of the kids are not graduating high school. The cost of college education in this country is zooming up, so you have to be a wealthy person to send your kid to college. There was once a dream that my parents had and many people's parents had, that if you work hard and go to school, you can get a college education.
All over this country, you have a lot of bright, good people, and they're saying, you know what? Situation is hopeless. If you can't beat the billionaires, you can't win, I'm giving up. That is exactly what they want us to believe. Do not enter that world of despair.
Despair is not an option. Not just for you, but for your children and your grandchildren and for the future of this planet. Our job is to give people hope.
The problems we face did not come down from the heavens. They are made by bad human decisions. And good human decisions can change them.
As powerful as the 1% and the corporate elite are, when the bottom 99% stands up and does not allow themselves to be divided up by Trump and his friends, there is nothing that will stop us.
But what people like this gentleman do not know is, for example, that in Scandinavia, in Sweden, you've had socialist governments for decades, that in fact that country is probably in most respects more democratic than the United States. They have 80 or 90% of the people voting. They have strong labor unions. They have a more open media. They have a healthcare system guaranteeing healthcare to all of the people. Not to say that that's a utopia.
I fight for Bernie with every breath I got left. I have no choice but to fight for everybody else because it's too late for me. But it's not too late for you. I can't do much. I can't vote too much because I run out of breath. I can't knock on doors. So I set up my home for people to come over. You want a Bernie sign? Come here and get one. You want a Bernie sticker? Come here and get one. You want to learn about Bernie? Come on over. I'll tell you all about it. My family's had a history of lung issues, and my co-pays were $20 a piece with the original medical company, and I have 3 medications, so that's $60 a month. The company I worked for was bought out, so they changed the insurance to Pan American. So now instead of only paying $60 to $90 a month, I'm paying over $800. I couldn't afford it. So I had to go without medication. I was at 87% lung function. I finally went to see my lung doctor, which I couldn't see because the insurance company would not cover them because they were a specialty company. So I walked in and saw them, and she looked at me and checked me out, and she goes, "You're dying." My lung function went from 87% to 42%, and so I had to retire. If I had Medicare for All in 2012, I'd still be working. I wouldn't be sitting here dying in my home. And I don't want that to happen to anybody else. I want everybody to be able to live their lives without having to worry that you're going to die. because the insurance company just doesn't want to help you anymore. Or the company you work for doesn't care. My lungs may be failing, but I'm gonna fight for Bernie with every breath I have left.
But at a time when the wealthiest people of this country have seen a tremendous increase in their income, while at the same time the standard of living of working people and poor people has declined, I will be damned if I will vote for a proposal which will stick it to the middle class and the working people. We have an approach to campaign financing which, to a very large degree, allows wealthy people and major corporations to buy and sell politicians. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and ordinary Americans are shut out of the political system.
We've never, ever had a movement candidate, a true champion of social justice, this close to the White House. We may never, ever get it again.
We have never, ever, ever in our lifetime had a candidate who will do more for working people than Bernie Sanders.
Well, I knew from a long time ago that he was the guy. I knew it when he was a voice out there in the 80s in the wilderness. There wasn't that many people in the public sphere that were talking the way he did.
It was pretty barren out there, but then Bernie Sanders came on the scene and he was beautiful, man. I mean, he was just beautiful. His voice was singular and unrelentingly powerful in its moral clarity. And the guy was absolutely fearless. And I thought, here's a guy with the future in his eyes. This was a man with a deep and a powerful connection to the truth, who proclaimed the absolute need for justice, equality, and dignity for all people.
There needs to be a revolutionary and radical change in the priorities facing this nation.
And he was alone. And that's what makes him prophetic, because he's been saying stuff that's only now fashionable. He's been saying it for 40 years.
The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And it is absolutely imperative, in my view, if this country is going to survive in any kind of decent way, that working people understand their common interests.
For these 40 years, we've endured class warfare from above. And for 40 years, Bernie Sanders was there fighting back.
What kind of a person would you like to see as President of the United States?
Well, I would like to see somebody who has the guts to begin to stand up for the people who own this country, to look reality in the face and say that we need some radical changes in this country so that every American can have the opportunity to have a decent standard of living and live a decent life.
He's talking about a radical redistribution of economic and political power to benefit working people. And now the country is finally catching up with Bernie's moral vision. This is our chance.